Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today's tale takes us back to 1983 when a custom home contractor got called back to raise a stunning arched carport for an RV, only to discover the homeowner hadn't measured its width. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Contractor, let's measure to be sure. Client, nah, I got it. He didn't. This is a story my dad used to tell from back when he was a contractor in California. One of those stories that makes you shake your head and laugh every time. Back in 1983, my dad got hired to build the biggest and most extravagant custom house of his career. The homeowner had spared no expense, massive square footage, ornate interior details, custom everything. One of the standout features was the driveway. It led up to a carport framed by a gorgeous arched entryway about 10 feet tall, which continued on to a multi-car garage. It was one of those classic design elements that looked like it belonged in a magazine. The build went smoothly, and after the final walkthrough, the homeowner was thrilled. Everything was signed off, my dad got paid, and that was that. Or so he thought. A few months later, he got a phone call from the homeowner. Customer, hey, I just bought an RV and I need the carport archway raised by about 16 inches so I can park it in the garage. Dad, okay, why don't you bring the RV by and we can double check the measurements together to make sure it fits before we do anything. Customer, no need, I already measured it 3 times. Just raise it 16 inches. My dad, ever the professional, tried again. Dad, I really recommend we check the clearance together, especially with something as big as an RV and a customized entryway. Customer, I said I measured it. I'm sure. Just do it. So my dad did what any contractor dealing with a stubborn client would do. He wrote up the new quote, charged the guy $4,000, and sent his crew out to modify the archway. Now here's the thing. The original arch couldn't just be raised in the traditional sense. The roof line was already fixed. So to give the extra clearance, my dad and his team had to completely change the shape of the arch. Instead of the beautifully curved design, it was now a squared-off rectangle with lightly rounded corners. Functional, but nowhere near as elegant as the original. 3 weeks later, the phone rang again. Customer, hey, there's a problem with the arch. Dad, what's going on? Customer, well, so it turns out it's tall enough now, but I didn't measure the width of the RV. It's too wide to fit. And, my wife won't stop complaining about how the older arch was prettier. Dad, so you want the arch back? Customer, yes, can we just go back to how it was? Dad, sure, no problem. That'll be $8,000. Customer, $8,000? But the last time it only cost $4,000. Dad, right, but last time we were removing the arch. Now I have to rebuild it from scratch. I've already torn out all the original material. I need to re-pour the custom moldings, rebuild the frame, and pay my crew for another full installation. Customer grumbling, fine, just get it done before the weekend, or I'm going to be stuck listening to my wife complain the entire time. Well, my dad was nothing if not fair. But he also wasn't in the habit of rewarding arrogance, so he made a decision. He stretched the job out. What could have taken 5 days magically took closer to 2 weeks. His crew worked meticulously, taking their time to get every detail just right. After all, if the client wanted it done before the weekend, maybe next weekend would do. When it was all said and done, the elegant archway was restored to its original glory. The RV still didn't fit, but the house looked great again. The customer paid up, grumbling the entire time, and my dad walked away with an extra $12,000 on a project that was already one of the most profitable of his career. Stretching the timeline was pure genius. They got exceptional craft pay for a job they already knew would be called back. It's satisfying to see someone so confident in their own measurements get burned by their own overconfidence, and all while your dad legitimately cashed those checks for honest work. And our second story. Sorry, Karen, squatting doesn't make it your house. Back in August, my cousin and her deadbeat baby daddy begged my parents to let them move into our family's old house. Now, to be fair, the place wasn't in great shape. My parents were several months behind on the mortgage and utilities, and at that point, they were just hoping someone could occupy it and keep the pipes from freezing. So when my cousin promised she'd take over the utilities and pay $400 a month in rent, and her boyfriend claimed to have a job already lined up, my folks took the deal. It sounded like a win-win. That was their first mistake. Within the first 3 weeks, it became painfully obvious they had zero intention of following through on any of their promises. No utilities were ever transferred to their name, no rent was paid, and that job the boyfriend allegedly had lined up, he quit after one day. Not fired, just quit. According to him, it was too early in the morning. Meanwhile, they had about $800 between them from some odd jobs and leftover paychecks, and somehow none of this went toward rent or bills. Just like that, it vanished into the air. My parents tried to be patient. They gave them a grace period, had multiple polite conversations about the rent and utilities. My cousin and her boyfriend nodded, smiled, and made vague excuses. Eventually, my parents gave them 2 weeks' notice to move out. That's when the tantrum started. My cousin called my parents, screaming after the power got shut off. Again, this was her responsibility. She didn't offer to pay a dime. No apology, just accusations, insults, and nonsense about how she deserved better treatment. The entitlement was out of control. A week later, they finally left. My parents went over to check on the property and immediately called me. They were in shock. And I was too when I arrived. The house looked like it had been looted after a riot. There were used diapers everywhere. The bathroom mirrors were shattered. The bathroom sink had been ripped clean off the wall. Raw eggs were splattered all over the floor and ceiling. A 100-year-old wooden banister that had been there since my great-grandparents' time, broken into chunks like firewood. There was trash in every corner, holes in walls, and cigarette burns in the carpet. These people hadn't just lived in the house, they declared war on it. We called the police immediately. The responding officer turned out to be someone I went to high school with. He took the report, helped document the damage, and we got to work cleaning up what we could. Neighbors even pitched in, bless them, and we took hundreds of photos to go with the police report. That night I did what I probably shouldn't have done, but definitely don't regret. I checked Facebook, and there it was. A full-blown post from my cousin trashing my parents and me. She claimed we were the villains, said we kicked a mother and child out on the streets, called us socially disgusting, and accused me, charmingly, of being a lesbian who Grandma would be ashamed of, rest her soul. It was vile, attention-seeking drivel. Normally, I ignore that kind of drama, but this time, no, this time I had receipts. I responded with a calm, fact-filled post. I laid out exactly what happened. The rent agreement, the unpaid bills, the quitting of the job, the trashed house. I attached a photo slideshow of the damage. I even included screenshots of her Facebook rant to drive the point home. And then something amazing happened. People turned on her. Hard. Mutual friends, extended family, old coworkers, even people from her dad's side, people I hadn't spoken to in years, started jumping into the comments and messaging me directly. Turns out I wasn't the only one sick of her woe is me act. Apparently, this wasn't the first time she'd pulled something like this, and my post was just the final straw. Her entire image of being a strong, independent mom got nuked in under 48 hours. By the third day, she'd locked her account, deleted several posts, and gone radio silent. Her baby daddy disappeared off social media entirely. Their little sympathy campaign had backfired spectacularly. But here's the part that really matters, the part that has consequences. Thanks to the damage they did and the evidence we collected, the police are pressing charges, multiple felony charges, property destruction, trespassing, possibly theft, depending on what turns up missing. And both of them already had open CPS cases. Now, losing custody is all but inevitable. So yeah, I'd say justice is in motion. Oh, and as a bonus, they left behind an entertainment center. It was the only thing not broken or covered in grime. We hauled it over to my parents' place, cleaned it up, and now it sits proudly in their living room. Kind of poetic, really. They gave us headaches, we gave them consequences. And I'm sleeping just fine. This is the kind of story that should be taught in How to Deal with Toxic Family 101. You didn't stoop to their level, you just let their own actions bury them. And now they're dealing with legal trouble, CPS, and a ruined reputation, while you and your parents can eventually move on. And our last story. Karen parked in my garage without permission, so I locked it and went on vacation. Hey Reddit, buckle up, because this one's got trespassing, entitlement, and a Karen who thought my garage was her personal parking spot. Spoiler, it didn't end well for her. Cast. Me, 33-year-old male, chill biker guy with a soft spot for vintage motorcycles. Karen, 50s, short blonde hair, sunglasses, always on her head type. Officer Daniels, local cop who's seen some crap. My parents, 3 hours away, the reason I wasn't home for 3 days. So I live in a fairly quiet suburb. Houses are close, but everyone minds their own business. I got a one-car garage that I actually use for my 1972 Honda CB750, my pride and joy. The garage isn't for cars, just for the bike and tools. 2 months ago, the house next door sold. Enter Karen. Within a week, she already made waves in our neighborhood group chat by yelling at kids for drawing chalk on the sidewalk. Classic. Anyway, one Thursday morning, I roll up from work and find a silver Hyundai Elantra parked inside my garage. Inside my garage. Not blocking, not in the driveway, inside. I stood there for a solid 10 seconds like my brain was buffering. I knock on her door. Karen opens it and immediately goes, "Oh, you're home. I figured you wouldn't mind. Your garage was empty." That's because I was at work. I'm trying to stay calm. "Well, it's just a car. I thought your bike thingy could fit next to it." "My garage is not a communal carport, Karen. Move it." She rolls her eyes. "Ugh, I have groceries. I'll move it later." No apology, no shame, just, ugh. So I tell her I'll give her 15 minutes. I go inside, check the fridge, pack a small bag because, surprise, surprise, I'm heading to my parents' for the weekend. 15 minutes later, the car's still there. Big shock. So I wheel my motorcycle in, squeeze it next to her Hyundai, and close the garage. I lock it with both the inside bolt and the deadbolt key lock from the outside. Then I get in my car and drive to my folks' place. Day 2, Saturday morning. My phone is exploding. 10 missed calls, 12 texts, unknown number. "You need to open your garage right now. My car is stuck." Unknown number again. "I'm calling the police. You stole my vehicle." I ignore them and go back to my pancakes. Later that day, I get a call from the police. Officer Daniels. "Hey, we got a call from a woman saying you locked her car in your garage." "Yep, I did. She trespassed and parked in it without permission." "You didn't let her in?" "Nope, I got home from work. Car was there. She refused to move it." "So you locked it and left?" "Yep." He pauses. "All right, not illegal. Just real petty." We both laugh. "Want me to come unlock it Monday?" I ask. "That'd be best. She's loud." Monday morning, I get home, unlock the garage. Karen's there, arms crossed like she's trying to melt the concrete with her rage. "You're in so much trouble. The officer said you kidnapped my car." "Your car trespassed. You should be glad I didn't have it towed." She storms off, yelling about lawyers. Never saw a single one. Later that week, Officer Daniels dropped by. Just a heads up, she tried to file a theft report. DA laughed. Also, her car's inspection expired, so we ticketed it. "Karma?" I asked. "Justice," he winked. Karen's been quiet ever since. She still glares at me every time I fire up the bike. But hey, I think she finally got the message. Don't mess with a biker in his garage. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.